Welcome back to Built Fabrications. Today we have Julia's 79 F150 back in the shop, which by the way still needs a name. Don't have a name for this thing. So if you have any ideas, drop it in the comments. Maybe Julia will like one of the ones that you guys pick. But anyways, what we are planning on doing today is freeze plugs. Yeah, so not a lot of fun, and I'm hoping to get these done or replaced while the engine is still in the truck, which is not going to be a fun process. If it can be done at all, it's about a 50-50 chance. I'm going to say heads we get it done, tails we can't. Uh-oh.
You can see the riding on the pavement. Young kids, they're growing up in basements.
So we have two problem children on here. It's hard to get at if I get it to focus. So this is going to be one of them. You can see we have a hole in it, evident by the coolant leak on the floor. And then the other one, which, well, first of all, that one, we need to remove the starter to get at it, which is going to be a pain to still kind of get it up in that angle. The other one is conveniently located underneath the motor mount. You can kind of see it if it will focus. Back up in there. So I'm hoping that for the one that's above the starter, I can just pull that starter out and I should be able to have access. It won't be very comfortable or very fun to do, but hopefully I get that one. The one that concerns me the most is going to be the one that's underneath the motor mount. And what I'm thinking for that is maybe if I unbolt the motor mount from the block as well as from the frame and lift the engine up, jack it up, either from the top or the bottom. Again, 50-50 on that too if I go from the bottom. But anyways, if I jack up the one side of the engine and pull that motor mount out, I might have enough clearance where I can get at that and get it replaced. The other thing is I might be able to get it out, but trying to drive in the new one straight might be a little tricky too. So we're just gonna wing it, you know? If I have to end up pulling the motor out anyways, might as well just give it a shot with it in, and if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. So anyways, let's get to it. All right, so you can see with the starter out, shouldn't be too big of a deal to get to this guy. This is the one that was obviously right above it. So get that punched out. The other one, I don't even know if I could really see it. I mean, you can see where it's leaking. So it's right above there. But yeah, whenever we do try to get that off, probably try to take out this, the bottom part of the motor mount, and then undo it from here. I mean, there's 3 bolts, 2 on the other side, 1 on the top, and try to get that pulled out to get some more room. But again, even if, you know, I could punch out this old freeze plug, trying to fit it in with that tight space is going to be tricky. I would like to use brass to replace the freeze plugs with. They last a lot longer than these steel ones, obviously. But if I can't drive it in, I really don't want to, but I might end up using some rubber ones. They make, basically it's a washer and a bolt goes through, and it's a rubber plug. And what you do is you put it in the slot, the hole for the freeze plug, and then you crank down the nut. And what it does is it squeezes that rubber together, which compresses it outwards to get it to sit tightly in the seal. And so if it's something that I can't drive a new one in, but I can get a wrench in there to tighten it down, I might end up doing that. Just because I really don't want to have to pull this engine for something like a dang freeze plug. So anyways, I'm gonna get the phone set up here on a tripod and we'll start trying to drive this first freeze plug out. Hopefully I don't wear a whole gallon coolant on my face. So what you want to try to do for these, at least one method, is to take kind of like a punch. I'm just using something from an air hammer and set it in the one corner, and you could just try to punch out the one side. So like hypothetically the inside should go, or the bottom should go in, and this top part will kick forward, and then you just grab it with some pliers or channel locks and yank it out. All right, so I've been working on this, taking it piece by piece, and I finally got it kicked sideways and freed out. So now I just need to pry it out. All right, there we go. Woo, that sucked. So if you can see, there's a bunch of muck in the coolant in the engine block. I don't know if it's mud or probably mud. So I just want to try to scoop some of this out, and we're probably gonna end up needing to do a flush on this, maybe a couple. But before I get this new freeze plug pressed back in, I want to try to get as much out that I can just by scooping it with my finger. But yeah, this stuff's nasty. Now, whenever you're reinstalling or putting a new freeze plug in, some people like to just put them in straight. What I'm going to do is take a little bit of RTV. This is stuff for water pump and thermostats, and that's just, so it works with the coolant as well as the temperature. So, but what I'm gonna do is just put a little tiny bit along the outside of this freeze plug, and then I'll get it pressed on in there, and hopefully it'll seal up good. All right, so you can see I put a thin little bead around the outside of this new freeze plug. I'll just take it and get it pressed up in there. All right, well, that's one down, one to go, and that was the easy one. Hopefully that takes care of that problem. And yeah, now it's time to move on to that guy. Well, I finally got the little SOB out. This thing was, I fought this thing for, I think, 5 hours, 5.5, maybe 6, to try to get this one out, but I got it out. What I ended up having to do, like you saw in the video, I used heat, I used using screwdrivers, I tried using an air hammer to try to get it to go. It just wasn't working. What I ended up using that worked was I had this piece of round stock, and I went and I jacked up the motor, the engine, and I got it as straight as I could for the angle. And then I ran this piece of round stock in between the strut tower or the shock tower and the spring tower. And I was able to just kind of catch the lip on that freeze plug and knock it in and get it out. So I still need to get the new one in, obviously, for that, and then get the motor mount back in and then tighten it down on both sides. It's been a long fight, but got it done, or got it out. It's not done yet. Well, we got both of those new freeze plugs in. Right there, and this is the first one we did. That's the second. This one was the nightmare one. To drive this back in, I used that piece of round stock a little bit, as well as a long screwdriver, and I just lightly kind of tapped around the lip, the edges, to make sure I didn't puncture anything. It did get a little scratched, but really nothing to worry about there. Hope not, at least. But anyways, yeah. So we got to get this motor mount put back in, and should be done. And I really hope that this fixed the problem and I don't have to do this again. Got the motor mount back in. So this installation is complete. Obviously you need to let the RTV set up. I have to look up what the cure time on it is, but it's finally back together. Well, we got it done. Not a fun job, very long job, very PIA job, but it was necessary and it's complete. Fingers crossed they don't leak the new ones. So anyways, doing freeze plugs while the engine's still in chassis is obviously possible. It is a pain. It's not difficult, it's very tedious. And in my case, time consuming. Maybe if you guys have better luck, if yours aren't hermetically sealed to the block like mine happen to be, and just the middle's tearing out on them, maybe you have better luck being able to pull them out. Or if you have better access than I did, that's good too. So, but anyways, we got it done, we got it taken care of. Got a lot more stuff to come on this truck. I'm not putting coolant back in this yet because I have some more plans for this truck that we're going to be doing here shortly. But thank you guys all for watching. Hopefully this video helped. Get outside, get wrenched on something, piss off your neighbor, disappoint your mom. Until next time, keep on keeping on.